Mi tierra, my homeland, orgullosa de mi tierra, habitante de ese vientre que me dio vida al nacer. De norte a sur muy extensa, de este a oeste un placer, con lugares tan hermosos que muchos podrán conocer. Por varias causas inmigran, buscando quizás crecer, pero como mi tierra, nadie los podrá conocer.
A translation of Mi Tierra, my homeland. Proud of my homeland, citizen from birth, gave me life when I was born, from north to south, extremely vast, from east to west, a pleasure, with beautiful places that many will have the opportunity to see. For many reasons they immigrate, maybe looking to grow, but like my home, nobody will understand them.
Hello, and welcome to this year's Hispanic Heritage Month Chapel service. My name is Paul McNamara, and along with Dallis Alvarez, we are the co-heads of OLA, the Hispanic or Latino Affinity Group. The group aims to provide a safe space for students who identify as Hispanic or Latin to share their stories and to find common ground with one another through shared experiences. Now, a little bit about what the month is and what it represents. Hispanic Heritage Month is recognized from September 15th to October 15th. The United States observes this month by celebrating the histories, culture, and contributions of American citizens whose ancestors came from Spain, Mexico, the Caribbean, and Central and South America. The beginning of this celebratory month is of much importance to many Central American countries, as Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua all celebrate the anniversary of their independence on the 15th of September. As you may have noticed, the month encompasses a wide variety of nationalities, and many people who identify as Hispanic or Latin can look drastically different from one another. From a father who hails from Mexico to a Dominican cousin in Santo Domingo or a Spaniard grandmother in Catalonia, physical features don't necessarily define who we are. What matters is that we acknowledge both our differences and similarities and come to realize we are all American. Today, we will hear from a few of our members on various topics concerning their heritage and what it means to them. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy.
Good morning. My name is Daniela Mays-Sanchez, and I'm a fourth form day student from South Windsor, Connecticut. My mother was born in Mount Apple, Puerto Rico, a small town located on the southeastern coast of the island. Over the course of her childhood, my mother, her parents, and her two siblings moved back and forth between Connecticut and Puerto Rico a few times before finally settling in Connecticut when she was 14. Although many of her relatives moved to the United States around the same time that she did, the majority of her family still remains in Puerto Rico. Throughout my life, my parents had made it one of their top priorities to educate and expose my younger brother and I to our heritage. This is mainly done through visiting my father's family in Texas and my mother's family in Puerto Rico. Every other Christmas, my parents, my brother, and I travel to Puerto Rico to visit my mother's side of her family. Our most recent trip to Puerto Rico was this past Christmas. Family is a very important aspect of Puerto Rican culture, as well as in other Latino cultures. When we visit Puerto Rico, it is an absolute requirement that we visit family. There's no getting around it. If a relative is aware that you are nearby, they will call you and tell you to come over to their house and eat, regardless of whether they saw you at some other relative's house the night before. If you don't go, they will good-naturedly guilt trip you. And many Puerto Rican families, including mine, it is a custom to greet older relatives by saying bendición, which is essentially asking for their blessing. And they respond by saying Dios te bendiga, which translates to God bless you. Family is very important to the culture, and visiting family is as exciting as it is important to me. On every trip, my brother and I especially look forward to seeing our 4 favorite cousins, Alba, Jorge, Alondra, and Anais. Whenever we're in Puerto Rico, we spend the majority of our time with them. My most memorable experience with my cousins is when we went on a day-long road trip along the coast of the entire island. We visited about 5 different beaches, saw various historical landmarks, and even swam in a natural pool. Our cousins speak very little English, and thanks to our mom, my brother and I are both fluent in Spanish, and we're able to communicate ourselves with our cousins. Although we only have the opportunity to see them every 2 years, every time we return to Puerto Rico, it's as if those 2 years never occurred, and we practically pick off right where we left off. I've always been encouraged to take pride in my heritage and to cherish and appreciate the time I spend with family. I have been, and always will be, very proud of my family and where I come from. Thank you.
Buenos dias. My name is Dallis Alvarez, and I am a 6th form boarder from Brooklyn, New York. This summer was quite typical for my family and me. We embarked on our yearly visit to Puerto Rico, where much of my family lives. From my grandmothers to my uncles and aunts and second and third cousins, the list goes on. My brother and I set out on our typical adventures through the many diverse and peaceful beaches that the island has to offer. Every summer, we go to our favorite beach located in Aguadilla. However, this summer, we made it our goal to visit and discover new beaches that were not overflowing with tourists. After talking to several locals, we got directions that pretty much consisted of take a right at that really large palm tree at the end of the road, then take a left at the large rock, and all the way at the end of the road will be a small break in the trees. And there's the beach. After a long search, my brother and I were able to find the beaches that we had never been to. It was as if we were on our own private resort, the white sand and clear water, with no one in our sights for miles. We took in the sun, tried not to severely injure ourselves as we climbed trees for coconuts. Well, I tried not to get injured while supervising my brother climbing the trees for coconuts, but close enough. We then took an adventure through a Yunque National Forest, but best of all, we visited our family. Personally, that is what I enjoy most about going to Puerto Rico, my family and the people. As Daniela noted, family always comes first in our Puerto Rican culture. Also, by the end of the summer, I brought back an annual story from my grandfather about when he was younger and had to walk over 2 miles of hills and unpaved roads every day just to get to school, whether it was 100 degrees or pouring rain on the island, which is practically the same as my hike from the pool to the dining hall after swim practice during Westminster's infamous winters. I also brought back a new memory with my grandmother from the beach. It was a typical sunny, humid day on the island. However, once we arrived at the beach filled with smooth, light sand and crystal clear water, it began to rain. My grandmother and I decided to stay anyway. We unwisely decided to climb the dark, slippery rocks that were on the side of the ocean. As we trekked upward, nearly falling 15 times before reaching the top, we laughed and sang along to the music playing on the beach below us. Once we reached the top, we noted that the view was worth the climb. And as we stared at the rough waves colliding with the rigid rocks and felt the warm rain come over us. After the rain had passed, we headed back down to the beach where we encountered a group of locals who invited us to come eat with them. We ate, shared stories, and danced with our new friends as the day went on. While this may sound unusual to many, this is quite typical in Puerto Rico. People from all over the island are kind, welcoming, and easygoing, which is one of the many things that I love about the island. The endless memories and the people is what I think of when I think about Puerto Rico. Several weeks ago, as I sat in my dorm room, watching the countless news reports, videos, and images of utter destruction the island faced after it was hit by Hurricane Maria, my mind went in 1,000,000 directions. After I called my mother, I learned that the island had no power, no water, and was destroyed by intense winds and rains. My mother was unable to get into communication with any of my relatives. My mind went to the worst case scenario, and the pictures and video of the island were unfathomable. It is a different island, I thought. The roads filled with debris, houses torn apart, palm trees that looked like driftwood sticking out of the ground, and telephone poles snapped and flung everywhere. My heart was heavy, and I couldn't believe the damage the hurricane had done. While I was getting into the overload of work associated with the infamous senior fall, I was struggling to focus. My mind was constantly preoccupied with thoughts of the safety of my family and the island. About 5 long days later, after much patience and hope, we were able to assure that all of my family was safe. I was finally able to take a partial sigh of relief. Eventually, my brother and uncle were able to find 2 tickets to Aguadilla, the town where my grandmother lives, and they flew down to try and give the island and my family some much-needed support and supplies that they weren't receiving. Over the phone, my grandmother described the countless hours she spent waiting in line for gas. My grandfather described how the heat was unbearable without a generator or any water to drink. As my brother also described, there was not a single bottle of water to be found in any of the countless grocery stores that he went to. Despite these rather somber stories, my brother's tellings of the people of the island resonated with me the most. Despite the loss of homes and lack of food and water, the people of Puerto Rico and every small town my brother drove through were filled with neighbors lifting each other up. From finding water sources at small streams, to singing, dancing, and laughing together, despite the relentless humidity, heat, and lack of power. As I continued to scroll through the internet and see the devastation and lack of aid and supplies, I initially see a different island, stripped of its beauty. But when I recall memories of my family and the people of Puerto Rico, see the support from organizations and individuals sending supplies, and the stories of hope and unity as my brother witnessed on his recent trip, I realized that while the island may appear to be different, it's still the same island, with the same people smiling, with the same optimistic spirit, singing and dancing no matter what they're faced with. That is what Puerto Rico is to me.
Simonne and I will now sing the song Vivir Mi Vida, which translates to Live My Life by Mark Anthony, who is a prominent Puerto Rican salsa singer.